All right, let's jump right in. In this explainer, we're going to talk about the idea of the modern Samson. Now, we're not talking about the old myth, but about a powerful philosophical ideal for unlocking your own very real potential.
Okay, let's unpack this, because this is the whole thing in a nutshell. It's not just some fancy poetry. It's about taking all the chaos, all the random, external lightning the world throws at you, and instead of being struck by it, you internalize it, you swallow it, and in doing so, you discover that its power was your own all along, just waiting to be forged into will.
So to really wrap our heads around this transformation, we've got to start with a basic idea. There are two completely different kinds of strength. And that brings us to our first section, the tale of two strengths, which is all about moving from just reacting to the world to acting on it with your own sovereign will.
Okay, so look at this. It lays out the shift perfectly. On one side, you've got the classic biblical Samson. His strength is totally external. It's a gift, and it depends on vows he didn't even create. He's reactive. He's driven by passion and revenge. But then look at the modern Samson. The strength is internal. It's grounded in self-mastery. The motivation isn't about getting even. It's proactive. It's about self-overcoming, about becoming a bridge to something more.
And that's the absolute game changer right there. It's this move from being just a divine instrument, a pawn being used by some outside force, to becoming a creator of values. This is step one toward real sovereignty, where your strength can't be taken from you, can't be shorn away by anyone or anything.
So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, it starts in a place the source material calls the Camel's Desert. This is where we all start, really, carrying the weight of a world we were born into but didn't choose.
And this is the camel archetype. At this stage, you're pretty much a product of your environment. You're shaped by the laws and traditions of your ancestors. You're carrying this immense burden of thou shalt, all the rules, all the values you inherited. Your life is defined by kneeling down and letting these weights be piled on your back.
But here's the twist. This weight isn't just a bad thing. Philosophically, it's something called the Anstoß, a check, an impact from the world. And you need this resistance. Think of it like this. It's the anvil. Your will is the hot metal, and without something hard to hammer it against, it's never going to take shape. It's the resistance that makes you aware you have the power to push back in the first place.
And all that pressure, all that hammering, it builds up to something. It builds to a roar. And that brings us to the most critical turning point. The lion's lightning, where you finally start forging your own will through rebellion.
So the big question is, how do you actually do that? How do you stop being the camel and become something new? Well, it's not something that just happens to you. It's a conscious act of self-creation, what the Source calls a second birth, where you stop being a product of the world and start becoming its co-architect. And at the very heart of this rebirth is what's called the ultimate synthesis. And this is it, the big idea. The realization of the Roman Caesar with Christ's soul. So what on earth does that mean? It means you're aiming for this incredible, perfect balance, combining the immense world-shaking power and limitless will of a Caesar with the deep, inward, value-creating spirit of Christ's soul.
Let's break that down. You've got the will of Caesar, that limitless, sensual drive, the raw momentum, the conqueror's pride. And you fuse that with the spirit of Christ's soul, that inward-turning moral compass that provides direction to Creator's spirit. The key here, and this is so important, is you don't destroy the beast of your nature. No way. You enlist it. You take its raw power and you give it purpose.
And when you achieve this state, a vow or a self-imposed limit, it's not a restriction anymore. It's not a fragile chain someone else can break. It becomes a powerful tool. It becomes a lens to focus all that scattered, chaotic energy, all that lightning, into a single, world-shaping laser beam.
After the destructive roar of the lion, what's next? Well, after all that rebellion, we get to the final and maybe most powerful stage, the child's sacred yes. This is where we move from just fighting the old to joyfully creating the new.
The child represents a totally new beginning. It's described as a wheel turning from its own center. You see, at this point, the struggle is over. You're not fighting against old laws anymore. You are joyfully creating new ones, right from your own core. The actor and the action, they become one and the same.
And this final stage has three powerful marks. First, you become a master of gods. You're not serving old laws. You're a vessel for humanity's own elevation. Second, your power is completely internalized. The storms of the outside world have become certainties inside you. And third,
Your very existence becomes an affirmation of life's power. You don't need to prove it, you just are.
Okay, so what's the point of all this? What's the grand purpose of this whole transformation? That brings us to our final section, becoming your own sun and creating what's called the meaning of the earth.
The source material gives us this really stark, incredible image. It says, humanity is a rope stretched between the animal and the overman, a rope over an abyss. It really highlights this precarious, transitional state we're all in.
So where do you stand in all this? You're not on one side of the abyss or the other. You are the bridge. After this transformation, the modern Samson is the fiber of that rope, willingly taking on that tension to help us all make the journey to a higher way of being.
And this leads to the final, crucial idea. The meaning of the earth isn't some treasure you go out and find. It is a solar deed. It's something you do. It's a creative act. The universe is just a raw quarry of material, and your will, that amazing synthesized will, is the hammer you use to shape it. You don't discover meaning, you forge it.
So what does this all boil down to? After this whole journey, from camel to lion to child, it leaves us with one final provocative command. Stop looking for external sources of light. Stop waiting for validation. Become your own sun.